Hi, good evening or good day wherever you are in the world. This is Druanna Johnston, and we're here to talk about the mysterious birth certificate. Dun, 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 dun. The power of your birth certificate. What does the birth certificate do? Wipes out all your debt. Why is that? Because everything is prepaid. Everything is prepaid because of your birth certificate bond. Why? Well, I'm here to explain why that is. I have a couple other videos that explain exactly that, part one, part two. But this time we're going to go a little more in depth, okay, about what the birth certificate is. And let me begin something very interesting. You can definitely wipe out your any debt, whether it's judgments, lawsuits, credit card debt, child support debt, traffic tickets, anything, any violation, any charges with your birth certificate. Why is that? Okay, let me begin with this interesting blog that my friend Yarrow has posted on Facebook to kind of give you a little background first. Okay, registration. Okay, so what the birth certificate is, it is a registration into a corporation. Registration means you are giving away ownership over to something else. So basically what happened, your birth certificate was a bond that your parents had no idea what was going on. They ended up having to sign it under duress, meaning they had no idea. They were told, they were forced to sign it, saying it was for something, you know, to protect, just to protect them, protect the children, and all that. What was happening is they were signing a contract with no full disclosure of what the contract is. And if you know what a real contract is between two human beings with full disclosure of the contract, which is bilateral, where two people have to be in agreement, meaning two human beings, not a human being and a corporation. Okay, that is not what a contract is. It is two people, two human beings coming into agreement, into the same, you know, mutual agreement of bringing up a contract of, you know, what they want to accomplish, okay, with two signatures by two human beings, not a signature by a person who represents a corporation. No, it's two human beings, okay? And what the birth certificate was a contract without any full disclosure of what was really going on. And what they did was they ended up signing us off, registering us children off to the state where the state would own us, okay? And they would create a name which was in all capital letters. Now, not all birth certificates have all capital letters. It doesn't mean anything, okay? But from what we've gathered, the bills that we receive in the mail, it has to do with the all capital name. Let's say that you get a bill and your name's always all in caps. You're like, well, why? Well, that's not how your name is really written. What they tried to do with our name is turn our name into a legal fiction, which is what a person means. If you look at the Black Law Dictionary, edition 7, a person represents a legal fiction and a corporation. In order for these corporations, such as the United States of America Corporation, check that out on Dun and Bradstreet, in order for them to have joinder, basically, have joinder with you, you have to be a corporation, or your name has to be a corporation in order for them to do a contract with you or operate in commerce with you. Because a corporation cannot attack a human being, a living man or a living woman. You have to be in a contract, and which is what your parents did. They ended up signing you over to the state without knowing. Me too. I'm just as guilty, okay? So let me go ahead and read a little background here about what the birth certificate is that Yarrow brought up. It's really interesting. He got it from this article. So registration means enrollment. For example, students register to enroll in a school, which gives them certain rights and obligations. When it comes to the birth certificate, you're registering to enroll in the private federal democracy of the District of Columbia, aka the United States. You're registering to become a federal 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. which is a federal employee of the state, okay, or of the corporation. The United States Corporation was created in Washington, D.C. You know, when you launch a corporation, those of you who have a business or have started a corporation, you have to launch it out of the city that you're in. And all the laws, the bylaws, they all apply to that city and to that state. Why is it when this corporation was launched, was the United States Corporation, which is found in Dun & Bradstreet, why does it apply to all the other states? Well, we get into that later on in my e-course if you're very interested in learning about this. But this is the way you're going to be able to take your freedom back. And yes, you can wipe out all debt. And yes, with the birth certificate, you can pay for things. You can purchase things, which I'm have found out that you definitely can do utilizing something called your signature. Why? Because you're a shareholder of the corporation. This is something they never told you. Because you're registered as like a member of the corporation in the United States, shouldn't you be a shareholder? Shouldn't you be getting some money every year, which is maybe $300,000 a year? I know that the Native Americans, some of them, I think the Cherokee, they have a casino. Well, everybody, all the money's distributed among everybody, and everybody gets a check. Why aren't you getting a check? That's because you are the shareholder of the corporation of the United States Corporation, which they did not let you know about. So, moving right along here. Registration means recording, enrolling, inserting in an official register. Enrollment as registration of voters, registration for school, the act of making a list, catalog, schedule, or register, particularly of an official character or making entries therein. Black's Law Dictionary, 5th edition. But I had to throw that in there. So let me tell you, since we only have about 20 minutes on this video here that I want to explain to you. Because of this scenario that happened, and because we are not aware of this, we are the United States of America, or corporation, sorry, not America, not the Republic, not the country that the Republic was founded on, basically. The United States of America Republic, okay, was founded on by Thomas Jefferson, Washington, George Washington, and all that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about later on what happened, okay? And basically, what they've done is they created everything into corporations. They turned all the republics of the states, like the California Republic, Alabama Republic, they turned them all into corporations. Again, look at Dun & Bradstreet, D-U-N-N and Bradstreet for proof of that. And by doing that, they ended up privatizing everything. They privatized the courts, the creditor companies, the banks, the judges, the cops, the IRS, all of them privatized. They are operating a for-profit corporation, and they are charging you, who is considered the debtor, okay? Why? Because the United States Corporation went bankrupt back in 1933. What happened was, the Federal Reserve ended up making its way into to Washington, D.C. and threw the Treasury out, okay? And what the Treasury had at one time was Treasury notes, which was backed up by real gold, real silver. So they were holding on to our wealth. Our family had a lot of wealth. We had land, okay? And this applies to not only us Americans, also the people from the United Kingdom, Canadians, all over the world. All the gold from the world has been stripped from we, the people, from all over the world by some elite few, okay? This is something that they haven't taught us in history books or in school. So basically what happened was, because we're in debt, they ended up collateralizing all of us. Okay, they ended up bringing in the Federal Reserve notes, which have no backup like the Treasury notes used to have. Okay, because everybody that used gold and silver, according to the Constitution, currency can only come in gold and silver. There was no such thing as a Federal Reserve note. And a Federal Reserve note is your example of what a commercial lien is on the public. Okay, with no backup, no real money, no real backup at all. It's the only backup from the Federal Reserve note is from people's hard work and toil and labor. What happened was we were collateralized on the UCC1, which was a Uniform Commercial Code, which is international. We were collateralized as agriculture, okay? To take care of the debt that the United States corporation brought us all in, and they ended up using us as cattle to take care of it. There was money that was owed, supposedly back in the 1800s or way before that. Supposedly, Queen Elizabeth owed money to King George or something like that, and then the Vatican was involved in that as well. And when the United States was created, or the corporation, it has been in a lot of debt since then. They say back in 1933, but it was way beyond that, way before that, okay? So they collateralized us, and by doing that, they ended up creating the birth certificate to register all of us as basically board members of the corporation, but not letting us know that we are also beneficiaries of this corporation. That is why they need your signature. Every single time you sign a credit card or a slip. I'm sorry, like when you pay with your credit card or your debit card or whatever, or at the store. They always want your signature. Why? Because that has a lien on that. Okay? They put a lien on that signature, and they've already done that. And that signature is worth millions or billions of dollars. I mean, I don't even want to get to that. I would say limitless, because we're limitless. Why is that, you're probably asking? It's because we come from the earth. We come from the earth, and in order for this high up so-called elite family, don't really know who they are really, but you know what I'm saying, they cannot put a lien on property. It has to be movable. And we come from the earth, so therefore they slapped a lien on us and slapped a lien on our signature. They've already done the UCC1 on us. And that is why our UCC is a little different, because it brings us up to a more peaceful status, which is a non-adverse, non-belligerent, non-combatant party, which specifies a specific lien, which is maritime lien, or if you wanted to do agricultural lien. But some of the people that are doing the UCC1s, they're trying to find out why it's not working for them. Well, maybe it's because the UCC is not done correctly, and there is no specification of what type of lien it is. So anyway, yes, we can use the UCC1 when brought up to a higher level to put a lien on our government franchise or the birth certificate name. We call it the government franchise because, hey, they turned it into a franchise. That's why they're able to charge you for everything. So we have a way of taking care of it, of wiping out the debt, their debt, not our debt. It's a thing called forgiving their debt. Yeah, we talk about Nasara. I'm sure you've heard about that. Waiting for Nasara to come around. We don't need to wait around for Nasara. We can wipe out their debt by forgiving it. And how you're able to forgive their debt, is by signing it with your golden signature. You're the shareholder of a corporation, right? So by signing it with your golden signature, gets rid of all debt when you become a secure creditor. And by doing that, you take back the estate or the birth certificate, which is a real estate. This is a bond. This is your estate that they have wrongly created without your knowledge, which is a felony, which is treason, which is so much horrible things that you can think of, which is genocide, you guys. This is genocide. So what we do is we create a UCC1 to bring us up to a higher status with the protection of the Geneva and Hague. Okay, Geneva Convention and Hague. And because we are putting ourselves on a not at war status, we are not at war. Taking us out of the enemy of the state status, which they've enacted back in the early 30s, okay? That we are criminals of war. This is a real terrorist act that had happened back then. And it didn't just happen back in 1933. It goes all the way back to 1871, maybe even before that. But then some say it's even way to the Vatican. But I have videos explaining that. But back in 1871, what happened was our president Our last president was Abraham Lincoln. Did you know that? He was the one who knew what was going on with the bankers. After all, that's what's going on between the government and the bankers. They're pretty much at war with each other, and they've been at war since then. What happened was Abraham Lincoln knew what was happening with the American people. He tried to bring back the greenback, issuing the treasury notes that had some backup, which was our gold and silver, okay, which was our wealth. And he saw what the bankers were doing. They were bringing in their little FRN IOU notes, which is exactly what they are. FRN notes, your pounds, your Australian dollars, it's all of that. Mexican peso, they're all funny money because they are all debt notes, okay? The only way that can overcome this debt is our golden signature. But he knew this. He knew that was going on. So what he did is he put a lien on all the Americans to protect them, to protect their wealth from the bankers. Okay? And so what he did was he invoked martial law, bringing him as the commander-in-chief, which is like the CEO, not the CEO of the corporation like what Obama is, because that's what he is. He is a CEO of a corporation, which is the United States Corporation. So what Abraham Lincoln was, he went from president status to commander-in-chief status, where he had the opportunity to put a lien on all the states, or the republic, okay? And what happened was the Constitution was really in effect around that time. But when the bankers came involved, what happened? He got murdered. So therefore, he was only putting it on in martial law only for a little bit until the bankers gave up and left, and then brought everything back under the Constitution and everything. Now, in the Constitution, it is written that there are 13 colonies. Okay? This was the estate. The estate was fractured back then. It's been fractured since then. So what does that mean? When it's fractured, the Constitution no longer applies. When Abraham Lincoln got murdered, that was the murder of our last president. Therefore, the Constitution, any of that, none of those laws applied anymore, okay? Because the estate was fractured, which involved the 13 colonies. So, I mean, there's a lot more going on that meets the eye, but I'm just kind of giving you a background of what the birth certificate really is. You know, when you look at that, when you look at your vehicle registration, when you register, what is registration? Again, you're registering over to the state. Okay? So the way that we handle things, the way that we handle these entities, knowing what happened, knowing what wrongfully happened, we grow up a little bit. And by growing up, we tend to say, you know what, we don't want to fight. We're not at war with any of you. Whatever happened back then, that was back then. And we're here, we're waking up now to who we really are. We're becoming more conscious. We're becoming more responsible to take full responsibility of our own person. And therefore, we become secure creditors that are able to take that corporate name and move it the way that we want to move it now. We take it from their hands back into our hands to move it the way we want to move it, you see. That's what a secure creditor is. It isn't saying, oh, give up your driver's license, oh, give up this and that, and live on the farm, and you know what I mean, live out of commerce. No, we are living within the commerce, which is fine, as long as you are the one who has the upper hand. You have the power of attorney general over that straw man name or the government franchise name. We don't like to use straw man name, okay? So that's what we do. And with that, when every time we get a letter in the mail or a debt or a lawsuit or whatever, we just beautifully accept it with a smile, and we send it off to the private corporations such as the IRS or local treasuries. We send it off to them because they know exactly what needs to be done. We don't ever send it back to the public, because the public are your courts, your judges, your creditors, you know, third-party creditors. And that's another thing. I get a lot of clients asking me, well, how do I deal with these creditors? What do I do? So easy, so simple. You got to remember, these people these entities are calling you for money, yet they have no paperwork to prove that they're even operating as a for-profit corporation, meaning, okay, yeah, they say that they're a for-profit corporation, but they don't have their paperwork as far as having a tax registration certificate. They don't pay their taxes. They cannot provide proof that this is a real debt that is against you. Original contract. And you need to ask them something too. You need to ask these third-party creditors, if I don't pay you, will that mean that your business will go under? You need to ask them that. Ask the court that. If I don't pay you, will your business go under? Of course it won't, because they're terrorists, okay? They are operating as terrorists that took over the United States of America, okay? There's a lot of things going on back then, but that was one of the things that have happened, and especially has happened all over the world, and not just the United States. So it's very good to educate yourself to know exactly the power of what your birth certificate is, who you are, why you're finding out that the government has the right and authority to tell you what to do and how to do it with your kids, that your kids need to go to school. If they don't go to school, you go to jail or they go to jail. Wait a second. Since when does authority come and tell you what to do and how to do it? Like your parents. Something isn't right, and you need to be the adult enough to ask those questions. Why am I being ruled over by these beings, these entities who look just like us? They're human being like us, and they're telling us what to do. All they have is a badge. And they're telling you how to act. And it all begins from school. When you put your children into public school system, this is where the brainwashing begins. It gets started from then, where the kids have to listen to authority. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Already brainwashed. I mean, one thing is to listen to you, as parents, they have to respect you, of course. But it's even worse in the public system, because now they got to respect other authorities and strangers they never even knew before. So that gets them ready for the brainwashing. So this has been going on for many, many years. This has been going on for a long time. So when a cop pulls us over, right away, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I mean, heck, I was in the Army back then. I was in the Army back in 2002. So I'm very full aware of being broken down and getting built back up again. And everything was yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. It was like constantly abiding by the rules like a slave. That's why my kids are no longer in school. They are non-schooled. Anytime they want to learn something, they want to learn web design, they want to learn multiplication, get on Google. Not a problem. Piece of cake. They know how to read very well. They know how to write very well. They will not go to public school because of that. And when you put your kids in public school, what are you doing? You have just enrolled and registered them into the public school, so that way they can take your children from you, your property, which is also property of the state, by the way. That is why it's so important to put your children on your UCC1 as your collateral. Even trademark their names on a federal level. Look it up. Trademark their names. Trademark your name. Put it on a UCC1 as well. That's one step to protect your children. But you want to do it before the thing happens, okay? You don't want to wait till the last minute when your kids were taken from you. And this is why I'm educating you, because me as a parent, I find it is so important that parents need to spend time with their children instead of slaving themselves as laborers for the corporation, that you'll never move up. You'll never move on top. Never. As a debtor status. You want to move up as a secure creditor status, where you're operating on the private side to cancel all their debts, because we have the power to forgive their debts. Why? We're also because we're also from the Almighty source. We have the power to do it. We have the power to create our own reality as well. So just wanted to share this with you all, what we're about, and we can help you gain back that power, gain back your estate, and be able to wipe out all charges that are against you, the Inquisition that's against us all. Okay? So please check out my website, www.securecreditor.com, for more information. We are now having a Halloween offer now, Halloween special, where you can actually get the package done for a very low price, and also do the package on your own through our automated system. and also take advantage of the e-course. I'm also going to be doing a webinar on 13th, 14th, and 15th of November to share with you exactly how this is done and also teach you the tools and ways of discharging debt. We've been having a lot of success, and I'm so excited about that. We've been having success with student loans, people wiping out mortgage. This lady, she believes that they're finally have gotten off her back, and by following me to a T, my instructions to a T, in a very peaceful way, not fighting with them with big signs and everything. Very peaceful way of doing it. We operate very peacefully, and we deal with them with letters. We don't ever go to court because that is not our playground. We operate on the private side and only deal with the private side. Pretty awesome, huh? So if you're interested in what you're hearing and you want to know if your birth certificate can wipe out debt, of course it can. Doesn't matter what country you're from. Check out www.securecreditor.com and also message me or email me on Sovereign Magic with a K, Sovereign Magic, Magic M-A-G-I-C-K @gmail.com. I'm Reverend Druanna Johnston. It was a pleasure to bring this to your attention to wake you up, and anything that I have to do to wake humanity up, so be it. So mote it be. Take care.